Well, hey there, Vern. Good to see you can make the review there. My trusty colleague. And of course, Sparky. I've got Sparky doing a little research for me here on this review. Sparky, I see you've been into the Scotch again. I thought we talked about that earlier. Vern, I might need you to do the research in the future there. So we're going to be doing a review on some of the BenRiach whiskeys there. So I'm showing you where the distillery is here, and we will blow it up a bit here, and we're just south of Elgin here. And of course we're going to be locating just about 2 kilometers south of Elgin. The distillery that was built by John Duff 1898. Now he owned another distillery he built, the Longmorn. And Longmorn, you notice, is quite close to the BenRiach Distillery. So there was a private railway that was built between the two, and of course there's the Longmorn, and there is the BenRiach, and they transported their barley, their coal, etc., between the two distilleries. And this was built at the tail end of the whiskey boom and just prior to the Pattison Whisky crash. Well, welcome to Wells World of Whiskey. And you're wondering what is going on with all these bottles here. Anyways, BenRiach Distillery and some of their presentations. So what do we got here? So this is their 10-year Curiositas. One of my earlier malts there. I've had a few malts previous to this, but I think my son bought me that one. And this here is the 12. And I believe this is a smoky 12. So at some point here we're going to be reviewing them all. For now, I'm going to focus on the 12. I'd like to start in the center, and we'll get away from the smoky stuff. And we'll put these two here, up front here, sort of out of the way. We'll get onto them later at another time. And we're going to focus on the BenRiach 12. So, interesting history to this distillery, but you will learn a lot about the distillery there in my little history lesson I usually do with these videos. But make a long story short, this had a very short history. 1898, I believe it was John Duff. After the Longmorn Distillery he built right close to it. It was only a few not even a kilometer away. He decided it was so successful, he built that in the early 90s during the whiskey boom, and of course 1898, we're getting toward the end of the whiskey boom. He gets the BenRiach Distillery started. It operated for 2 years, and then of course the Pattison Whisky crisis. So I say no more. It killed a lot of distilleries or put them out of commission for a while, but this distillery did not operate for another 65 years. So anyways, you'll get a chance to kind of read the history there. A couple other tidbits. The famous Billy Walker, the legend Billy Walker, he did get this up and going and gave it some notoriety. And of course, the First Lady of Scotch, Rachel Barrie, is now the master distiller. So there we are. Okay, let's get going on it. I said I was going to try to condense my videos. I've already rambled on enough here, so it looks like we have to open up this bottle here. I forgot, I have not had any of this stuff. So, plan ahead, Noel, plan ahead. I did bring my water this time, and we're just missing my knife here so that we can open this guy up. So, a new bottle, and the BenRiach 12. A little different than the older bottles. How different? Well, you can see this is different. The case it comes in is different. So let's take a look at the bottles. Definitely, you know, old, new. So let's pop the cork, and we'll pull a dram. Oh, that cork isn't coming off easy. Whew, that's a good tight cork. We like tight corks. Now, as we always start off with the nose. And we do have a fairly strong nose. Sweet and sugary. Definitely a bit of vanilla. And yeah, sugary, vanilla. I will say that I'm getting a wee bit of the fruit showing up here now, but still very, very strong on the, I'd say, the dark fruits. Because it has got a very sweet presentation. And bit by bit, we're getting the dates and the figs. Oh yeah, we're even getting some desserts here. Creme brulee. Pull it away again here. I'm getting so much sweet stuff there, I've got to get it away from my nose. I want to get back into it and see if we can pick up something else beside the strong sugary presentation there. Now we're getting a little bit of the fruit. And these are more the fresh fruit. And, you know, the berries, the raspberries, blackberries, currants. Maybe even we're starting to get toward the, as we're spending a little more time with this, we're getting a little bit more of the citrus stuff there, like tangerines. And we'll pull it away again. Spices. Yeah, we're getting some ginger, cinnamon, allspice, and of course the, I say white pepper this time. So the spices are kind of dominating toward my the end of this nose here, and I am getting toward the end of the nose because I want to move on to the palate pretty quick here, so we're not spending too much time on the nose. It's funny because it's bouncing back and forth between the citrusy notes, the fruits, and the spices, the ginger, and then some cinnamon. Yeah, maybe some of that orange zest. Yeah, very good nose. I'm going to now give you the palate. Slàinte. Always a surprise. A new bottle. I have not drank this before. I have never reviewed it before. I have done the Smoky 12. This is the first time I've done the 12. And the very first thing I got, believe it or not, was some spicy sweetness. I don't usually get that right off the bat, but didn't know what to expect here. I did read some of the reviews, and that's what I'm getting. Spicy sweet. I'm going to try that one more time. Well, it's a little different. Again, spicy sweet. A little bit of malt in with the spice. That spice is going to be possibly a bit of a wood spice. Different kind of palate. I don't think I've had a palate quite like this with BenRiach, so this is quite unique, and certainly the Smoky 12 is different. I don't know if they use this as a foundation, but it definitely it has a different palate. I would say some. I would say you could actually say. What's the? This is on the tip of my tongue. Spicy apple pie. I've had spicy apple pie, lots of cinnamon in it, very spicy. That's what it is, spicy apple pie, because you're getting a bit of the stewed fruit with the spices. But it is getting a little more desserty. Is that a word? Desserty? But there's some sweet pie, spicy sweet pie. This isn't like a lemon meringue pie. This is a spicy pie, but it's got the sweetness where you've got the stewed fruit. So it's not like I'm not tasting a meat pie. I'm tasting a stewed fruit pie, like the ones I've eaten are apple pies, all sorts of different apple pies through the years. I love apple pie, and this is like one. I'm trying to think who used to make one of these, but it was one of my relatives, but it's spicy. And that's what it reminds me of. So, I think we're going to add a couple drops of water here. See if we can open some things up here. And I do have my water with me this time. Let's see what happens. Get a little bit of a nose here first. Oh, does that bring the sweetness out? Wow. It's actually drowned the spices. Yeah, really changed it. Interesting. Well, Slàinte. It's taken the sharpness of the spices. I'm still getting the apple pie. It still leaves the coating. I didn't add too much water, and it hasn't diluted it that much, but I'm definitely getting more of the sweetness. It seems to have opened up. I'm finally getting some of that vanilla from the bourbon casks, and the dark fruits. So I think I'm picking up more the sherry now. The water seems to bring the sherry out. Yeah, interesting. I've got to do this again. Try and identify the port. And darn it, I'm getting the sherry. It's the port that I'm kind of missing, but I'm going to have to do this another time, to be fair with it, because well, we'll see we'll see how we progress here. I wasn't going to extend this or you know, have this wander into a lengthy session, so I'm going to say sherry, bourbon, not so much port. It does have a bit of a buttery presentation now, I'm noticing, and maybe also buttery and biscuity is probably the best way to describe it, eh? As kind of like the foundation of it there. But that's with the spicy stewed fruit on top. I mean, there can be some tartness coming in here. Maybe a raspberry pie, bit of still a spice, raspberry pie. No, not blueberry pie. No, a spicy lemon tart. Yeah, I kind of like it. Trying to find descriptors of things that I've eaten that are like this, and I haven't. You know, I've eaten, you know what, those cinnamon candies, those really hot cinnamon candies, I think that's a good descriptor for this. What the heck are those things called? You know what I'm talking about. You know, it's cinnamon, but it's got heat. I used to eat them when I was younger. Anyways, that's the palate. I would say the palate is strong enough to, it's going to help its mark for sure. Let's go for the finish. Spice. Spice and grapes, berries, grape skins. You know that the grape skins, you get that little bit of a, very slight bit of bitterness, not much. It's just slight astringent. I think that's the oak. I think it's the oak I'm tasting. Yeah. But yeah, as the oak sort of slips by here, I still get the berries. I'm getting a bit of a coating. It's not a heavy coating, but I'm getting a bit of a coating in my mouth. So it's not going to be a short finish. This is going to hang around for a while, I can tell. So the oak is kind of disappeared. So this isn't it's not like the Glengarrick 18-year-old Renaissance there that hangs in. It's gone. Slight bit of alcohol burn in the background, slight bit, but the berries and the berry skins are dominant, and there's this, that slight bit of sweetness is still hanging in there with the spice. I would say that the finish is going to be medium, because it's still there. I still got the coating. And it's just, I'm losing identity of the notes, that's all. But there's a coating to it. It's not dry, it's not really moist, it's somewhere in between. You know, it's a different kind of dram. I wasn't expecting this. I'm really quite surprised, because I was thinking more of what I've traditionally had from the BenRiach Distillery, and this is different for me. And I've had a lot of smoky presentations too, so maybe that's the problem, is to get something that doesn't have a lot of smoke in it. And this has minimum amount of smoke, minimum amount of peat in it. So I'm getting a lot of other stuff that I think for some people, they're going to really like this because it's so different. And for others, they might not like the spiciness of it. I like it. I think it's something different. It's not your average cask. Now, the influences on this, as I understand, were the bourbon, the sherry, and the port. So there's 3 casks of influence here. And I'm going to say that the sherry and the port, it's sometimes hard to distinguish. I mean, people say they can, but I put a port right next to a sherry numerous times, and like a sherry finished and a port finished whiskey, and in all honesty, there's some similarities, definitely some similarities to them. So you talk about overlapping, and then you talk about blending, and I kind of look at this as possibly maybe the 2 are blending together. Now, if I was doing another review on this, I'm going to approach it a little different, and maybe I'll catch those layers. I'll catch the port layer, and I'll catch the sherry layer. But I'll be real honest with you, I didn't catch that. I did identify sherry. I did identify the bourbon. But I would say overall, this is a decent whiskey. What will I give it for a mark? I'm going to give it somewhere between an 85 and an 86. I really think that it's different. I don't know if everybody's going to like that spicy sweetness, but I like it. I enjoy this. I certainly don't regret buying the bottle. So as far as looking at purchasing something like this down the road, what was it? It's under $100. So, you know, I think it's in my wheelhouse, in my pocketbook, to spend that on a bottle like this. It's not over the top, but it's not something that I feel that I've basically wasted $90 on. I'm going to say that it's something different, and it's nice to have something different on your shelf. So, yeah, I'm going to give this an 85, and I'm going to leave it at that. It's a decent dram. And remember, my scoring is a little different than most people's scoring. I think anything in the mid-80s is pretty darn good. It's usually, if it's in the mid-80s, I'm willing to put it on my shelf. So I think that's a respectable score, and I think you're probably going to see some higher scores out there. But that's my score, and I appreciate you for coming in and watching the review. I'm going to ask you to drink wisely and intelligently. Do not drink and drive. Until the next time, Slàinte.